Good evening, good evening, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 614 being here on a Wednesday evening. We're a little later than 7:45. We have passed a monkeys, but we here this evening with my main man, all the way that makes the 614 bending air from South Bend, post game of post game sports. How you feeling this evening, my brother?
Feeling good, man. A lot of blessings, and just to see my children getting ready to go back to school, getting all their supplies and all that, and shopping, them tearing my pockets cat raggedy. I wouldn't have it any other way. And I see my pops is in the chat, and I don't know how you did it, man. You got like 2,000 kids, pop, and you made sure we was always straight for back to school shopping. So it's just a blessing, man. I'm excited to get them off to school tomorrow morning and have a little alone time for myself. You dig? How you doing this evening, Moss?
Man, feeling pretty good, and I'm a second that man. Just I was with my daughter today, and she's on her way to get nails, lashes. She's about to start her freshman year in high school, man. So it's something, and I definitely agree with what you said about Papa Whitmore. I think about my mom and pops, man. Like it was seven of us. We was running around terrorizing the crib. How did they do it? We sit back and we just thankful, for our parents and everything that they've done and raised us into appreciating the days that we have, whether it's opening a notebook for them to write or like days like today, preparing them for that first day of school for another year. But as we always do, man, we come in, we cook up, we talk about so many things, but we here on the 614 this Wednesday evening, and we are finishing up our NFL breakdowns. We went through the AFC, we then slid through the NFC, and we coming back and we bringing it up north by the way of that Midwest post. What's your thoughts when you think about the AFC North the NFC North, my bad, before we dibble and dabble into some of these questions and thoughts on this NFC North?
Extremely intriguing conference. The NFC North with Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota, and of course Chicago. Man, that race finished like down to the last second. Chicago finishes 11-6, but 2-4 in the division. Green Bay 9-7-1, Minnesota 9-8, Detroit 9-8. Something really interesting about Detroit. They finished with a winning record, but they finished last in the North. That means Detroit should have an extremely favorable schedule this upcoming NFL season. And a lot of really good players in this division, man. This is probably, in my estimation, the toughest division to call in the NFL. Could we see a scenario where all four of these teams make the playoffs? It's possible.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's so very possible. It was a lot of things I was thinking about when you think of the NFC North, me being an AFC North guy, seeing how the battles are in that division. I think this NFC North is the toughest division this year. Like you said, Chicago came out on top, being at the bottom and having a winning way this year, and they say their schedule is very favorable. So when you think of Chicago, can they win this back-to-back crown in the North? Can Detroit come in and dethrone them and head to a road, headed towards LA? It's a lot of questions. Can Jordan Love lead a Green Bay team? There's thoughts of Murray reincarnating himself, and he got jealous over there in Minnesota amongst a few weapons. So it's definitely a lot of players, and some definite injuries in this division, and we'll get to those as well as we dibble and dabble into some of those questions. And not to cut to the chase, post, we're gonna go ahead and talk about that team. We're gonna talk about those Detroit Lions. When you think about the Lions, you think of so many great things, a great city. when you think of football, they packed this stadium. Barry Sanders, Herman Moore back in the day, Megatron. I mean, you name it. Detroit has been a part of every sport, but this here football, what's your thoughts? Will the Lions get to the championship? Among some of the questions we have, and I'm gonna start with that.
Will the Detroit Lions get to the NFC Championship?
Yes, sir.
Man, my goodness, Moss. They very well can. They have the talent to do so. They do bring in a new offensive coordinator. I want to see how that works because he has a lot of pieces to play with. And they should have an explosive offense yet again this upcoming season. And then
Yeah.
I think they play in a lot of dome games this season as well. And like I mentioned in the intro, they'll have a softer schedule just from them finishing last in the division last year. So I think that's going to help them a lot. Man, this is such a tough division to call. I don't think they're going to make the NFC Championship game this year. Yeah, I got a lot of questions with this team. I know we're enamored with Gibbs, with Amara, and guys like that. Super talented roster. I'm more concerned about their defense on the defensive side of the ball. I know they got Hutchinson from Michigan. That dude is all world when it comes to the defensive end position, just a stud. But outside of him, I really have a lot of questions about this Detroit Lions defense. If I gotta say right now, will they make the NFC Championship game? I'm going to say negative.
You must be in the back of my skull on your breakdown, because, like Unc said yesterday, Mossberg, you must be in my thoughts. And when you say defense, Aiden is a monster, like you said, an all-out stud. And for me, I was thinking this defense haven't been flying around like we seen of those years that led them to that NFC through and through in ways that we seen in the past few years. So for me, I was wondering if the DJ squared, that's DJ Reader, that's DJ Reed, would Quadine step in? He's a guy that had 25 tackles, 11 sacks, and 9 tackles for loss last season. So it's guys, like you said, that definitely can step up and play in this division, but on this team, which we talking about in Detroit, some of those players, Jack Campbell, Alex Anzalone, will these guys step up and bring to what we know this defense could be in Detroit and make a run for that NFC championship? And I think I want to agree with you on that. I think this is a tough division. We don't know what we're going to get out of a Chicago team, and we'll get to them as well. And as well, you think of Green Bay, you think of Minnesota. So, respectively, this Detroit team does have some weapons. And one of those weapons, and I'm going to get to him, is Jameer Gibbs. And before that question, I know I put up there, what's your thoughts on Gibbs? And I know you'll roll right into answering that question about him going for 2,000 all purpose yards this season. Can he do that? But give me your thoughts on Jameer Gibbs when you think of Detroit as we continue on through this offense that they have.
I love Jameer Gibbs. I mean, he's just a certified baller. Everybody knows that. Everybody in the chat knows that. Jameer Gibbs is a baller. If if you rank any other running back above him, it has to be Bijan. Some people rank Jameer Gibbs as the number one running back in the NFL currently. As far as him going over 2,000 total yards of offense, I think that will be a bonehead move for the Detroit Lions. Is he capable of doing that? You bet. Would that be the smart thing to do? I don't think so. Not at 5'9", 202 pounds. They bring over Isaiah Pacheco from the Chiefs. I think they're going to lean on him when it comes to, third and short or fourth and goal at the goal line. I think you need to preserve Gibbs. I don't think you want to give him that type of a workload. But I mean, he's definitely talented enough to accumulate those type of stats. I personally wouldn't give him that kind of workload because I want to prolong his career, keep him as healthy as possible for a postseason run and for years to come. But I think they're going to mix in a little bit of Isaiah Pacheco, similar to how they did with David Montgomery. David Montgomery, excuse me, the last few years in Detroit.
I like that. I like that breakdown, and I totally agree with that. And when you think of Pacheco coming in, you think of another bona fide back. I think you add a lot more speed as well to that backfield in Detroit with having him, and like you said, bringing him in for that tough yardage, also to help out with those situations and keeping that offense running and keeping them pushing. We appreciate everyone tuning in to the chat. SEC Shine in the building. Make sure you go like and subscribe to that channel as well. Joe 91210. 9120. We see you in the building. Appreciate you tuning in. He said Lions time has passed. And SEC Sean had a great question. We'll come to that question as ranking and the coaches in the division at the end. Rebecca 7550. Hello. Good evening to you as well. And everybody else in this chat. Good evening to you. Also, Papa Whitmore, my guy, was good in the building. I ain't forget about you, my guy, all day long. And as we talking about him, I didn't get this question in when you think about the offensive weapons for Detroit. You talk about wide receiver duos. You got Amonra St. Brown. You got Jameson Williams. Give me your thoughts on this wide receiver duo. Are they tops in the NFL? What's your thoughts on Amon and Jameson? These are two bad, bad boys.
Yeah, they're definitely one of the better receiving duo in the NFL. The top, I wouldn't call them the top receiving duo, but they're definitely one of the better ones. Amon-Ra St. Brown has just been consistent, working out of that slot and really dominating when it comes to targets and catches for the Detroit Lions over the last couple of years. Really, really good player. I think a lot of people expect a guy like Mekhi Lemon to kind of be the next Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's a tall glass, but we'll see what happens because he's definitely talented enough. But Amon-Ra and Jameson is a really good duel. I think Jameson, he's more like a splash guy. And Parlay Poe in the chat, salute to you. He said Sam Laporta. Sam Laporta is a baller at tight end as well.
Mhm.
So, I mean, pretty weapons for Jared Goff to throw to when it comes to this Detroit Lions pass catchers. Laporta, Amon-Ra, and Jameson are definitely some dudes, and they're going to put up a lot of statistics this year for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah. Make sure you go like and subscribe to that at Parlay Poe Blitzberg podcast as well. Like and subscribe. And when he say and mention, we appreciate you coming in. Parlay Poe was good. And he said Sam Laporta is my dude. And speaking of Sam Laporta, if he could stay healthy this season, I think that'd be a big beneficiary on Goff's behalf in that offense. I think that offense gets going so much more. And one thing I looked at, 40 catches on 49 targets for Laporta. And he had 489 yards, 12.2 a catch, 3 touchdowns, 23 first downs. That's only 9 games post. That means he out there putting in work. He's obliterating the defense, and he out there looking like big man on campus in the NFL. So I think when you add that degree of having that tight end, your security blanket there to lay down anytime you throw that ball over there on that pillow, it's going to be there and get you comfy. I think that's special, and I think that could be something to elevate Detroit in this season to possibly get there to that NFC Championship. So that's something to look at. Injuries for Detroit as well this coming season. Can they stay healthy enough to last through the season? And that extra game we spoke on last year about how that could change and the injuries and things like that. We seeing it be good to some teams, and some teams it hurt in that moment to where they need to get that push through that tough season as well as that division. Any other thoughts on this Detroit team when you think about them as a whole. I don't want to miss out on anything. And he said, "What are we ranking golf coming in from Parlay Poe?" As you, if you want to answer that as well.
That's tough. Let's see. You got Jordan Love, Kyler Murray, Jared Goff, and the Iceman down in Chicago.
Yeah,
Man, Poe, that is rough, man. That's a tough call. I would say I'm going to go. Yeah, I mean, golf been to the Super Bowl,
17.
man.
Yeah,
Golf been to the Super Bowl.
he done been to that bowl.
None of these guys have been to the Super Bowl, but I'm gonna go. I think I really like Kyler Murray in O'Connell's system. I don't think people realize like this Vikings offense has made guys like Jared Goff, the Super Bowl winning champion for the Seattle Seahawks. His name eludes me right now. What's his name, Moss?
For
Seattle's
say it
quarterback.
again.
Seattle's
Oh,
quarterback.
Sammy D. Sammy
Sam,
Darnold.
this Minnesota offense has made guys like Kirk Cousins and Sam Darnold look like elite quarterbacks.
Yeah,
I expected to do the same for Kyler Murray, along with the weapons that Kyler has. I think Kyler Murray is going to have the best season out of this group this year. I truly do. So
man.
I would rank this division Murray, and I'm projecting. This is me projecting. This isn't what they done already. This is how I see this upcoming season going. I'm gonna go Murray. I'm gonna go Iceman at 2. I'll go Jordan Love at 3 and Golf at 4.
Ooh, ooh, some bold predictions. I like it. That's man, that's a great question, and we appreciate Tania 1016 joining us as well. My birthday 1015. She made me think about it. Stepdad's is the 16th. Appreciate y'all joining in. And man, golf, that's crazy. Like what you saying that Super Bowl, and for me, it's not even about winning that Super Bowl, you know, before I would have thought about ranking them. I still like golf the top quarterback in his division. And I say Caleb is right there. And I respect Kyler Murray just having these seasons that he had in the past. I think keeps me from putting him at 2. And Jordan Love is kind of having, I'm thinking about is there a possible trade looming sometime in the next year or so? I don't know because he hasn't had the best, and then them injuries do, hurt a lot. So I'm gonna say golf. I'm gonna go Caleb icing things at 2. I'm gonna go Jordan and then I'm gonna go Murray because I still I like Kyler Murray. I've always liked him, but I like Jordan Love too, and it's just ranking on myself. I'm gonna go golf, Caleb, Jordan Love, and then Murray. That's just me. Then SEC Sean, he came in with another great question. He said, "Does Detroit have the best offensive weapons as a whole with wide receiver, running back, tight end, and tight end?"
I think he meant QB.
QB, yeah, because he put it
I
after that.
I think. Well, let's look at it. Kyler Murray has Justin Jefferson. Uh, Jordan Love has Christian Watson, Golden, and those guys. Yeah, I think Detroit has the best weapons. I would agree with that. The problem for Detroit is that defense, in my opinion. How good would their defense be? Because Amon-Ra, Jameson, Jameer Gibbs, Sam Laporta, those dudes are going to ball. I don't think anybody questions that. It's the defense for me.
Yeah, that's a great question because now post I see where you're coming from when you speak on Minnesota, when you speak on Murray, when you speak of that coordinator and what that Minnesota offense can do for you, like it's done for Cousins and Darnold. Taking Seattle to win the Super Bowl because We know what Justin Jefferson can do, and now we want to see what the other wide receivers could do. I believe Naylor and the kid from USC they've had for a few years. If he could stay healthy, that'd be a
Jordan
big thing.
Addison.
Jordan Addison.
I don't think they have Naylor anymore though.
Nope, they don't have Naylor. You're right. It's Jordan Addison, and if he could stay healthy, and within that offense, I think it works great. As you say, this would be a question for me. I want to actually answer this midway through the season. I think midway through the season, this question could be answered wholeheartedly because it'll be some thoughts of who will be starting for some teams, who will be on the bench at that time, possibly for some teams, because you got some great quarterbacks backing up both of these QBs that we speak on when you think of Minnesota as well as Green Bay. And that thought for me. The next team, any other thoughts on that post before we get out of here? Great questions as well as we see everybody tuning in, and we definitely appreciate you tuning in this evening. And for me, I didn't really have. I wanted to break down Minnesota. I had questions for Minnesota, but I wanted to ask some questions based on things that we've seen in the offseason. The possibility of them being a team that could actually win the North when you get a quarterback like Kyler Murray and you've invested in a McCarthy and word on the street, the camp was tough. I heard they got into it in camp. So that lets you know that they out there playing football. They out there spinning that thing. What's your thoughts on this Minnesota team? I know you speak highly of Kyler Murray as we do, and we want to see him have that success now coming over to Minnesota with some weapons. What's your thoughts on this Minnesota team, Post?
I mean, Coach, like I said earlier, Coach Kevin O'Connell, I think, does a really good job with his offensive style. Again, he made Kirk Cousins look like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He made Sam Darnold look like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Now you get a guy in Kyler Murray who I believe has more talent than those guys, as well as his ability to run the ball. I think Kyler Murray's going to ball this year, Moss. And then we talked about his weapons, Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson is going to be back on track this season as being in the conversation. And is he the best wide receiver in the NFL? That's how highly I think of this offense. And then again, Jordan Addison, adding Jawan Jennings from San Francisco. I don't know how much TJ Hawkinson has left in the tank at the tight end position, but he should get plenty of opportunities with those type of weapons being surrounded by him. So I think Kyler Murray is going to have a huge year. Minnesota, with them drafting Caleb Banks out of Florida, I want to see him his rookie year. How dominant can he be? He's a huge defensive tackle, and then guys like Andrew Van Ginkel and Dallas Turner rushing the passer. I think Minnesota's defense is going to be solid, and I think their offense is going to be much improved. I would not be surprised if they won the NFC North. I just wouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the breakdown and thoughts on that. When you think of Hawkinson and when you think of Addison, when you think of Jennings, you think of weapons. We know what Jefferson could do now. If Murray can get the ball to these weapons, that could be something special to unfold, like we seen that year with Darnold, where Minnesota was going crazy. Everybody thought they was going to win the Super Bowl that year. So we've seen things happen in Minnesota, and I have nothing against your predictions with Minnesota even winning the North because I agree, those are some bona fide weapons to have and to come in, and then you face two of your division opponents in Green Bay and Chicago right off the bat. So I think this is a season where, and a start to where Minnesota has the ball in a court, but they had a football at the 50-yard line. Coin toss is theirs. Now it's up to you to get this thing going or let it go. I think The defense understands that, and like you said, the added pieces and the movement made. I think they have no choice in O'Connell. We know what he could bring to the table. I think it's special in what he do. I think he can reinvent something in what we want to see in Kyler. I think football could be different. It just makes me think of Tua and his short self and what he brung to the table, before he had those concussions and injuries, but what they still can do when they reinvent themselves. So I like it. And Parlay Post said top 5 defense last year.
Oh
So I
yeah,
think,
they gonna play some defense in Minnesota, and let's not forget, Moss. Kyler Murray was the first pick in the draft when he came to the NFL.
yeah, a lot of people forget that. And I was a fan of him. I watched him run around at Oklahoma. And, as we speak on things, some people don't understand we giving our opinion. So if something's falling off, we gonna talk about it. That's just what we do. But we congratulate the success even there within. So we want to see him be great, but it's tough for us sometimes to speak on when he's not doing great. But we love it, we do it, and we always want to see him doing great and what they do. So it would definitely be great. And that's my grandpa who passed away almost about a decade or so ago, man. Rest in peace, Grandpa. And his Vikings, man, would definitely, I know he rolling over in his grave when they got Murray and would be happy seeing them successful as well. So the next team, any thoughts? Any other thoughts on this Minnesota team? Because it's a lot of talks as some people don't have them really fighting for the division. But I like your thoughts and when you talk on that offense and like Parlay Post said, and you said as well, that top 5 defense. Defense win championships. Offense sell tickets. They could have a packed house in Minnesota. And we know the Mall of America is there, yeah. So they could have a packed mall, packed stadium. Everything could be going crazy in Minnesota. And that could be that Murray effect. Murray, Minnesota, Mall of
I mean,
America.
I don't see why people think it's far fetched for Minnesota to compete for the division title this year. They finished 9-8 last year with terrible quarterback play.
Yeah.
I expect them to take a step forward in quarterback play. They still have a really good defense, just solid, man. Those guys just fly around and hurt people. But you got Justin Jefferson, man, Jordan Addison. The running back position, a slight downgrade from the rest of the running backs when you talk about an older, injury prone Aaron Jones. So I mean, I think Minnesota is definitely going to compete for the division, man. It's going to be close. Like I said, they finished 9-8 last year, right in the thick of things. And last year they had terrible quarterback play. Don't sleep on the Vikings.
Yep. And Joe 9120, we appreciate you tuning in again. He said Brian Flores, SEC Sean. That division is going to be close to the end of the season. Yes, sir. It's going to be a tight one. I think it could possibly be just as tight as it was last year, but it may be a couple of teams post. It might be a Minnesota that stand out and have them couple game leads battling with Detroit. You just don't know. Maybe Chicago, Minnesota, and Detroit. It may be all 4 of them, like you said. But as we gonna get over and over to this next team on the docket, and we know your boy's name is Jeremiah Love, but over there in Green Bay with the Cheeseheads, they got a quarterback, and his name is Jordan Love. And he's one of my guys. I've liked him, coming out of Utah State, I believe, and just watching his success through the draft combine, feeling that he could be a quarterback to come in, one of those quiet quarterbacks, reminiscing on the Flacco time, Delaware State, and being a guy that could come in and change things for Green Bay, get them into that playoff every year, and have them even as a Super Bowl contender, not a pretender that we've seen over these last few years. Jordan, you my guy, man. I love me some Jordan Love. I like him. He rocking the number 10 as well. But, for me, my thoughts is what can they do to get things rolling? We gonna get on the defensive side because there's something brewing over there that everybody's not liking. If you're a cheesehead in Wisconsin. But what's your thoughts on this Green Bay team to start off, Post?
I mean, again, this division is so close. It was so close last year. I believe we're going to see that again when the season starts. It's just going to be a close division. I think it's time for them to take the training wheels off of Jordan Love and just let him go out and play, man. You signed Christian Watson to the big contract. They believe he's fully healthy now after struggling with his health to begin his NFL career. I think he's going to be a dude this year. I like Jaden Reed. I like Matthew Golden, Tucker Kraft, the tight end coming off an injury. How quick can he get back to himself? Before he went down with the injury last year, Tucker Kraft was looking like the best tight end in the NFL. He just did, man. He's awesome. Tucker Kraft is awesome. Now there are some concerns with Josh Jacobs and his legal troubles. Could a suspension be looming? Uh, he's already a little bit banged up. So Josh Jacobs is going to be key. And let's not forget, they got Marshawn Lloyd healthy this year, the running back from USC. I was high on him when he entered the NFL draft. So
Yeah,
that's going to be an interesting backfield. But I think Green Bay has everything that they need, health permitting, to compete in this division. And again, a game, a half game, a win is going to separate this division from the winners and the guys who don't win the division. So I really like this Packers team. It's time to unleash Jordan Love. I think he can get the job done. This is the guy y'all handpicked to replace Mr. Rogers. Let him play football.
I agree. And you said Mr. Rogers. We're in Mr. Love's neighborhood in Green Bay. Unleash the beast, as you just said, Post. I think he's a special quarterback when he's out there just humming to the beat, doing his thing, being at the helm, a la like a Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, and even today's Joe Burrow. How they do things behind that football at that center position when they behind it, snapping the ball, adjusting the line. I think he definitely can be something special. So, when you think about this wide receiver core, a core that didn't really play together all season. That was the thing that we didn't get blessed to see in Green Bay. Love healthy, the whole offense healthy. And that's why I want to get back to that question at some point halfway through the season of who has that best quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end weapon. Because as you said, special. And that guy Tucker is something special also. So I think, for me moving forward with this Green Bay offense, Christian is a beast, gonna be a beast. They didn't sign him that max money for no reason. And like you said, I think Love found his man he could go to when he hum into the beat. So for me, this Green Bay team, another team that could win the division. When we've talked about each team so far, each team can win this division respectively, as you seen, like Poe said, how the battle was last year, late into the season. Injuries hurt some teams at sometimes where they was trying to make a move, whether it was during that game or they missed a few games prior or after. So this Green Bay team can be scary good. But on the defensive side of the ball, Tiago, we appreciate you joining in 5 times as well. We appreciate you. Parlay Poe, one of our guys. We appreciate you being here rocking with us this evening as we break down this NFC North. Post, you cracked your neck. Go ahead and tell the people. I know if they reading up on it, they know about what's going on in Green Bay on the cheesehead side of the football. Let's talk about that defense. What's your thoughts on this defense in Green Bay?
I think it's uh, Micah Parsons is expected to be out until probably week 6. I think they'll be solid without him. As Parlay Pope mentioned in the chat, them getting Zaire and Franklin, that was a good move. He's a really good football player. I wish the Colts would have kept him, but it is what it is. But having Micah Parsons out the first, let's say it is 6 games, they got a whole serve until he gets back. and then do you got to wait another 2 to 3 weeks till he, gets back in the groove of things and being that dominant force off the edge that we're so used to seeing? That's what I'm looking for. I think out of Green Bay, Minnesota, Chicago, and Detroit, I think they have the second best defense in the NFC. I think both they're both better than Detroit or Chicago's. Those are some areas of concern of mine when it comes to those two teams. But they just got to hold serve 3-3, 4-2 until you get the best player on your defense back. I think they'll be flying around once he gets back and acclimated to playing. So it all depends on the health of Micah Parsons. If Micah Parsons can come back healthy, then he's going to dominate off the edge and cause a lot of havoc in this division.
That was my biggest thing for me. Seeing that he would be out, would that be, a devastating blow early, or would that be a good blow to prepare him for the push through that next 10 and maybe, 15 games, depending on where they at playoff and moving forward? I think, Micah Parsons for me is a great addition. With him being hurt, I think we're gonna be able to see who's who on the defensive side of the ball for the Green Bay Packers. Who can step out, who can really break through and say, "Hey, I'm here. I'm not just a cheeseheads. I'm in here playing in Wisconsin, so we could do something special, and we could keep this going. And when Mike could get back, we could add to it because we know what he brings to the table. I think this Green Bay team, it's like a genie in a bottle. You don't really know what you're gonna get. You're gonna either you're gonna roll the dice, you're gonna get a 7, you might get an 11, you just might crap out. You just don't know. And that's that 7-11 rolling off that dice on the first roll. But when you get your point and you don't hit, it's because you be in Green Bay, which we don't know, which is that genie in the bottle. So if they could stay healthy, I think this is also, I think, a team that can really be scary. And like you said, at every level, they have weapons. And we know how Josh Jacobs could be. But you said that running back from USC, and I've been watching this kid. I think he's waiting for the opportunity. And if that opportunity presents itself post, you spoke it into existence again and again. And why not it happen? Because ain't nothing wrong with it. He just doing what we seen as a fatal attraction to some people that have feel what he's doing, running that ball and busting loose, getting to that end zone. I think the kid's specially talented, and you've been saying it since day one when you've seen him and you've brought it to fruition. So I think it's only right to see two backs in Green Bay and having him as a feature. If things can't go JJ's way, won't be bad. So for me, I think Green Bay stay healthy, Micah Parsons come back, and things is rolling on the defense. Green Bay could definitely be a team, as we spoke before, that could win the division. That could make a move. That could possibly be here in the NFC Championship. This is a tough division. And getting through this division, you battle tested for a playoff run and a playoff push to get to the LA, to get to the championship. So I like the odds even of one of these teams out of the NFC North coming out and playing in the NFC Championship as well. That's a good thing to think about. Any other thoughts on this Green Bay team before we get to the next and final team on the docket this evening, Post? And do we got any Chi-Town fans in the building this evening? Any Chi-Town fans in the evening? Because we going to Chi-Town. You called him the Iceman, and we not talking Gervin, right? We talking Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears winning the North last year. You know, as Papa said, the Bears. My question, you know, I don't think nobody really seen them coming in and doing what they did last year. Many would say they came in and finessed the North. I think they just came in and did what they did. They played great football. We've seen Caleb Williams come into his own. What's your thoughts on this Chicago Bears team post? I think who is really very, very scary. And a team that could really, for me, I really looked at it. They could really, if they get a hold on it, they could win this division for a few years in a row.
Yeah, I mean, when I first of all, when you talk about the Iceman, Caleb Williams, he was also in a legal battle with George Gervin over that name during the offseason. He's trying to trademark the Iceman.
Mhm.
Um, there's only one Iceman though, but for fun, I call Caleb Williams the Iceman. He still has a lot yet to prove, but I like his trajectory. I like what I've seen from Caleb. I like the offensive style that the Chicago Bears play. You got to think about it, man. They have weapons everywhere. They lose DJ Moore. They don't care. They got dudes. They got Roma Dunze. Luther Burton is a guy who gets talked about a lot, who people expect him to break out this year and put up huge numbers for Caleb Williams. But the guy I'm looking at is actually the tight end at the tight end position, and that's Colston Loveland, one of Parlay Poe's guys from Michigan.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Moss. I can see Colston Loveland leading the Chicago Bears in targets this upcoming season. That's how special of a talent um, I think Colston Loveland is. I think he's going to ball. I think he's going to submit his name amongst the best tight ends in the NFL. And he's just going to be a beast. Caleb Williams has to take
Right.
another step forward. Again, he has all the talent in the world. He has to stop making, he has to stop giving up critical turnovers and critical moments in games. I think if he does that, he's going to take a huge leap. And then we definitely got to rediscuss where we have the quarterbacks ranked in this division. So the Chicago Bears are an exciting team. We're not. I mean, I'm used to Chicago running the ball and playing crazy defense. This team seems to be on a trajectory to be an offensive juggernaut.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about the Bears. They got a couple players on defense, but I don't think their defense is dominant. Not quite yet.
I love the talk that you just broke down and gave it to him fresh, man. I love that. And we got the comments coming in. Parlay Poe, Ben Johnson, he said is a guru. And we got SEC Sean coming in with another comment as well. He said, man, that was a hell of a lead up for Chicago Moss. I'm not so yet super talented, but can they sustain the success is the big question. Yes, they can sustain the stats. I'm thinking they can sustain the success for sure myself, but it's definitely something that we're gonna have to check out and see. SEC Sean also said George Gervin is playing QB for the Bears, or am I just old? Nah, it's a legal battle for that official name. I was just sitting here thinking we might have to call Caleb Williams Ice Mon. Nothing against the rosters or nothing else, man. Just to let Gervin breathe. Gervin is a legend, and we all know that. But when you
Or
when
you
you talk,
or I don't mean to cut you off. Or
no, you
you
good.
can call them ice fingernails or something. I don't know, but it's only one Iceman. That's George Gervin.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree with you. And when you think about this Chicago team, when you think about the running back, they also have a two-headed monster. I think one of the most underrated running back rooms in the NFL. You don't hear it talked about much at all, hardly. This is Kyle Monangai and DeAndre Swift. I know Monangai because them Bengals got a big dose of him last season, and that boy rumbled. So I know about Kyle, and I know about DeAndre as well. And I think it's special. You talk about combining for 14 touchdowns, over 1,700 yards, and about 400 yards. I mean, 400, rushes total combined as well. That's a force to be reckoned with. and it's only getting started. So I'm gonna tell you this: Chicago, like you said, they just might be building up a juggernaut. And when it comes to the receiver room, a player that didn't get many catches but was very efficient, 6 targets, 10 catches. That's not much for a season. Post 87 yards. Keep an eye and a thought on Ja'Day Walker, speedster, and he just goes out there and does his job. Young, but he could get after it in Chicago. And I think, when you think of this offense, you know, what can Chicago do moving forward, going past this no DJ Moore era? When I say era and not having DJ Moore, Caleb Williams still young, so they moving forward. They got a lot of young talent at that wide receiver position to start that minus more, no disrespect. And we know his greatness and what he brought to the table. But moving forward, what would that look like? So this is going to be a great season. I think, when you think about Caleb Williams, you think about the NFC North, you think about Detroit, Green Bay, you think of Minnesota and all these quarterbacks, Murray, Love, the running backs as well. I think this is a conference that needs to be talked about a lot more week in, week out. I think we've seen how tough it could be last year, but I might have to do a little more research. I ain't see a lot of talk on it, but it's definitely gonna get a lot of talk from us this year and one to key in on. And any thoughts when you think about when you talk about Colston Leveler, and let me get to him too. Beast, 713 yards, 58 catches for a rookie. You averaging 12.3 yards and you get 6 tutties. I don't think your coach is going to ask for much more but to go out and ball out and break out that next season. And I think he could just do that. SEC Sean said Ice Cube is taking 2. So Ice T, so many ice creams. Maybe ice cream. Man, yeah, so silly. But that was, my thoughts and thinking about this Chicago team as well. When you think about them, can Swift and Monangai be a force in the North? What's your thoughts on Swift and Monangai at that running back position?
Really good 1-2 punch. I think I think Swift is really underrated, especially when you talk about fantasy football drafts this year. DeAndre Swift is one of the better running backs in the NFL, if you ask me. And then Kyle Monangai being able to spell him, I think they definitely have one of the better 1-2 punches in the division. And it's going to be exciting to see this running game because when you got weapons like a Dunze, uh, and Burton and Colston, the defense has to key in on those guys because they know Williams can turn around, play action, bring that ball up, and he gunning downfield with those weapons. So again, losing DJ Moore, I think DJ Moore is in a better situation now, but Chicago doesn't care because they're really excited for their young pass catchers. But
Yeah,
the two running backs, I think, super solid.
I like that breakdown. And like you said, I think they totally invested in this young core, building something for the future. And it's just special. Like you said, when you think of Kyle, good back to spell, but Caleb, year 3. What's your thoughts on Caleb in year 3 at SEC? Sean, we gonna come at you, and you got so many great LOLs coming through the chat this evening. We appreciate you tuning in. And my thoughts for Caleb, man, is I think it's special to see what he's doing, regardless of how he paint his nails, regardless of what they said at the draft combine. This kid has came out and he's exceeded a lot of what the talks was about and answered a lot of those critics as well. What's your thoughts on Caleb Williams coming in and really giving this organization that thought of, being led to that possibility of back to back and even, more?
He just has to keep maturing. He's going to keep maturing and getting better. He has a lot of talent. I mean, he went first overall in the draft with Jaden Daniels and Drake May. So we know he's super talented. He's going to be a really good quarterback. I don't think he's done. I don't think that they're done molding the clay in Chicago, so to speak. But we see the potential. We see the flashes. Winning the NFC North last year, although it's extremely close, was not a small feat. And I just think Caleb Williams is gonna cook this year, bro. We went over the weapons, Colston Loveland, Roma Dunze. Those guys are gonna have big years, in my opinion. So Caleb Williams is in a really good position. He just needs to keep developing and not make turnovers in critical junctures of games.
Now, for me, when we ask ourselves what will the defense do, we've spoke a lot on that offense. It's really not weapons. It was more so for me like a unit that I seen out of Chicago, and we know the city of Chicago. It's about unity, about togetherness. Those things make the city go in a lot of ways as well. So I looked at the fact as a team, you had 35 sacks, 66 tackles for loss, 23 interceptions, and 75 passes defended. That's a big deal. And to win a division, okay, we understand why. Because you played as a committee. And it was like a village raising that child in Caleb Williams, knowing what they had to do on the defensive side for him to get that offense going and clicking. And I think if we see that same thing this year and those stats increase on the Bears' defensive behalf, I think we could see something special, like you just said, out of Caleb. And I know we all have seen him spin that thing as parlay post say back at the Coliseum. But now for him to be doing it in Chi-Town in front of thousands on thousands every Sunday at the next level, the NFL, I think is special as we watch him grow and continue. So my thoughts is that I think this defense, you've added Oregon safety as a rookie, Dylan. He will be in that secondary. And then you got Xavier Thomas, the wide receiver out of LSU. And then you got Unk's boy, Malik Muhammad, who will be out there flying around in that secondary. I think this Chicago team is building something for the future. And if you think of these players on this Chicago team, I know we could say it about a lot of teams, but this young Chicago team has a lot of All-Americans mixed in with championships and mixed in with titles within to prepare themselves for this NFL. So I think we're looking at some hungry players who may have not tasted that title, got close, and won a little taste at that next level as well. So that's something to think about and watch out for as well. Any thoughts on that? SEC Sean.
Yeah, I think in order for the Bears to get where they ultimately want to go, they gotta play defense, man. This is the Midwest. We know how cold it gets wearing hoodies and long socks come October, late September.
Yeah.
It gets chilly in here, man, and you gotta have a defense that's willing to hit people and play physical. So I think that's the key for Chicago. That defense has to continue to get better. I love what I see from Montez Sweat. I love them having Bush from Michigan at linebacker. And then you talked about the draft of Dylan Thieneman. That he's going to be a huge addition to that defense on the back end. If
Yeah.
you watch this draft combine numbers, that he's really fast and athletic, and I think he's going to be a huge piece for the Chicago Bears defense moving forward.
Yeah. I totally agree. I can't disagree. His height, his athleticism, but his speed is pick six written all over it. And like you said, man, like Parlay Post said earlier in the chat, man, Ben Johnson know it. That boy know what he's doing at that table, man. To bring himself over here in Chicago, you know, within that division and see what he's doing is just something special. And we know what he could do when he gets things going. And my question is, Post, is it's only right to ask you, Chi-Town, where you at? Can they win back to back? in the North. We in the Midwest. We taking it up north, and that's north where you at. That's north where I'm at. We in the Midwest, Chi-Town, North. What's your thoughts? Can they get it back to back in the North this year?
Man, another tough one, man. I mean, this division is so hard to predict, bro. I mean, you can name any four of these teams and one of them might win it, but man, that offense is gonna be so electric. I mean, if man, I wanna lean Green Bay, bro. I just do. I think the Packers are going if their running back is going to play and not be suspended and be healthy. But
I,
I mean, Chicago has a chance. They definitely have a talented offense, a defense that's improving. I mean, if the Iceman takes a step forward this year, Chicago's going to be pretty hard to beat, man, and they may just repeat. But man, it's a coin toss between all four of these teams, bro. To be
yeah,
honest with you, there's little separating all four. I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota won, Detroit won, Chicago won, Green Bay won.
man, that's it. I like the way you break that down. And you when you said Green Bay, I was like 27 tutties, 7 interceptions, 23 tutties, 6 interceptions. But that 27 tutty got 39.42 on the yardage, and 23 tutty got 33.81 on the yardage. But when you go over to that team that really didn't do nothing but was hanging on by a thread, 4,564 yards.
So you just read off Jordan Love's stats, correct?
Jordan Love, yep. That was
Out of all those quarterbacks, who had the most healthy pass catchers? Or
that's
last year?
crazy. That's crazy work too.
Remember, Jordan Love lost Kraft. He lost Tucker Kraft.
Yeah. It was what's the name? I believe Golf had the most healthy with having Amon and Jameson and what's the name? I think he had the most healthy. But the crazy thing is that Caleb, that 27-7 with that 39-42. That's crazy. Like I'm saying right now, post, because I don't think I picked one. Back to back Chicago. And this might be the first time they went back to back since Michael Jordan post. And we ain't even talking no basketball. I'm gonna give Chicago back to back in this division on the success of what they've been able to do from the management standpoint. I'm talking up top all the way through draft process and everything. Like you just said, Thieneman, I think is going to be a big key. Malik as well. I think the additions of what they added in that rookie class and what they have at this young core, I think they hungry. I
You
think
know what?
there's, yep, go ahead.
You know what, Moss? I'm not gonna straddle the fence. I'm gonna call my shot. This is what we here to do. Vikings. I'm picking the Vikings to win this division this year.
I
I
like it.
think Kyler Murray is going to ball under Kevin O'Connell and his system. Justin Jefferson is going to be right back in the conversation for WR1 in the whole entire NFL. There you have it.
You got many. I got Chi Town, man. Respectably. I like it. I like it. We said it here first. I'm gonna make sure you get that, clip me and post on that, man, with our talk on that. SEC Sean, you said who you got? Minnesota wins it. Kyler's going to make major noise. Two for Minnesota. If you in the chat, who gonna win the North on the NFC side? Parlay Poe, if you're still in the building, holla at us. But we are getting up close. We are counting it down to that final 1 hour that we are approaching 14:13. We getting close to that hour. Any thoughts as we done broke down this North? We gonna come in because we got still a few weeks till the season begin. We gonna come right back and get your takes and thoughts on who's who has these stats, who's your top receiver duo, who's your top interception leader. We gonna hit you with some little things before the season start and get your predictions and what you think could possibly be and see if they come to fruition as well, because we always making those great predictions before the season and like to see what comes about as the season progresses. Post that Mike is popping and like popcorn on a Friday night. I can tell you that. Anything else you guys say for to the people this evening, Post?
I appreciate everybody's support. I appreciate y'all rocking with us. 614 Ben, my man Mossberg. I appreciate y'all hitting that like button, subscribing to the channels. We're growing. We're continuing to grow, and we wouldn't be growing without y'all. So we strongly appreciate y'all. Thank y'all.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir, man. We appreciate it. As post game said, man, we always doing what we do. We trying to bring y'all different flavors on everything we do throughout the week, throughout the time, and always keeping it current on most of the talk that we talk about. And when we say most of it, because we're going to come through, we might come late one day, but we're going to cook up for sure. But best believe we're going to keep it current on everything we do when we talk these sports and try to bring y'all the best that we do. Other than that, tomorrow is Thursday. Y'all know what we doing, man. Y'all know who's going to be in the building. Talk to them, Post. Do you need to tell them anything, or you want to keep them light on their feet and tell them to tap into your notifications and the gang's notifications, the homies' notifications?
Yeah, except well, there's one thing, Moss. I won't be hosting tomorrow. Rob will be hosting. He's going to be on with Justin, I believe, doing the Miami Hurricane season breakdown. So make sure y'all tune into that. You college football fans or even the Miami fans, come check us out tomorrow evening, 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're gonna be breaking down the Miami Hurricanes.
Yes, sir. Our main man, Justin, WTP, going to be here. As far as in WTP, that's Unc that put us all together for what we do here. And he going to be breaking down that Miami the Outlook season take from one of their diehard fans, Justin. So make sure you stay locked into all your notifications every day of the week. And make sure you tune in to Level Up Sports 10 on Instagram as well. I'm dropping a lot of edits. I'm dropping a lot of different things. KT's Good Eats. We're going to be at the DNS 10-year anniversary this weekend. Make sure you come out and see us Sunday. Support us in everything you do, everything we do as well, because we're going to be coming and sitting at a table near you. But to Northland High School, I can't wait to be there football Friday nights this season. Good luck this Friday as you will face your first opponent this coming Friday, and that will be at Columbus Academy at 7 p.m. Good luck, and I hope you come out with a great win and a victory away from the home. And I'll be awaiting you the 28th. Mossberg bringing you great flavors from the land, Northland that is. But here is WTP Sports, and it's your boy Mossberg, post game, bringing you the 614 as we always do. We've been the air, but for us and y'all, we out of the building, as T1 said. Peace, love.